Folks, do not let your eyes deceive you. This is not our giveaway ZX4RR. This is, in fact, a brand spanking new Ninja 400 that I picked up. This thing is literally 0 miles. Well, not literally 0 miles. I have about 15 miles or so to get here to this location, so it's about as 0 miles as it's going to get. And we're doing a first ride and review on this beautiful Ninja KRT Edition 400. I think I said that backward. Let's try it again. Kawasaki Ninja 400 KRT Edition. That's what I wanted to say. Now, there's a bit of a twist with this one. It is a giveaway bike, but you only have until July 17th to get entered to win this and a beautiful beginner rider gear bundle. We're doing everything here at EME Noob. We're doing the bike, the gear, the helmet, jacket, gloves, boots, everything you need to get started riding, but you only have until July 17th to get entered to win for this giveaway. So head over to YamiNoob.co. Every dollar you spend is going to be entry to win this giveaway right here. You don't need to select it on the product page. Every entry is going to get automatically entered to win this machine and the beginner rider gear bundle, so you're not going to want to miss it because this is one of the biggest giveaways we've ever done. And we wanted to try something different. I've heard some feedback that the giveaways are too long, so here you go. A little 3-day giveaway. Get your chances to enter win right now. Go to YamiNoob.co. Every dollar you spend is an entry to win this bike and the beginner rider gear bundle. Don't miss it. Time is running out. Now, let's discuss the Ninja 400, shall we? I mean, what can be said about this machine that hasn't already been said? I think it's one of the very best places to start your motorcycling journey. I, in fact, started on a bike quite similar to this back in 2015, over 8 years ago. I started on a Yamaha R3. A humble parallel twin entry-level sport bike with good ergonomics for the street that has a cool paint scheme. And this is basically following that same formula, but the Ninja 400 is just providing you a little bit more pep in its step, a little bit more bang for buck in my opinion. So let's swing a leg and let's get started talking about this machine, shall we? Now the look out of the cockpit I really love. Analog tachometer, beautiful right there. Gear position indicator. All your electronics here, your neutral light, check engine light, your high beam, low beam, all that good stuff. You can see here odometer 17 miles on this bad boy, so we've barely ridden it. Full tank of gas. Let's go ahead and start her up, shall we? Go ahead and put it in neutral. Starts right to life. It is a Japanese bike, folks. Of course it does. You know, I recently rode the CF Moto 450 SS, and the Ninja 400, not quite as sonorous as that bike because it has a 270-degree crank, but as you'll see here as we take off, the Ninja 400 has a really cool intake honk. Click it up here in a second. You hear that? That's nice. You know, it's really funny. My experience with the Ninja 400 is pretty varied. I actually bought one in 2019 as a giveaway bike, which was a while ago now, almost 4 years ago, which is crazy. And I actually race a Ninja 400 in the CMRA Ultra Lightweight Endurance with me and a couple friends of mine. So my latest experience on this bike was riding it at 10/10ths on the track, and ours is like fully prepped and set up and built. You may have seen that bike featured on our ZX4 versus Ninja 400 race bike video that we did. But man, coming back to a bone stock Ninja 400, the bones of this bike are so good, dude. Like this bike, the bones of it, the way it feels is so good. It's got something for everybody, man. Anybody can jump on a Ninja 400 and love life, you know? I think this is such a cool platform for almost anybody. You know, if you're an entry-level rider, perfect. If you want a small displacement, super fun little sport bike, perfect. If you want a commuter vehicle even, this can definitely make the case. Because one of the coolest things about the Ninja 400 is the ergonomics on this bike. Although it looks very racy and cool and got the lime green paint scheme and all that, this motorcycle is actually very comfortable to ride. It's got a very low seat height, so anybody can flat foot this thing unless you're very vertically challenged. The reach to the bars, as you can see here, it doesn't have full-on clip-ons. So on a traditional super sport motorcycle, the clip-ons, which are these bars right over here, would typically attach underneath the triple, which is this clamp right here that attaches the headstock and the fork. It would actually sit right underneath here, and you'd be way more low down in the bike, and your seat way higher and your pegs way higher. But honestly, this is such a neutral riding position, and I really like that on the 400. I've really kind of outgrown the need or the feel to have a super sport or super bike on the street, and something like this that's peppy and fun and sporty, but still, retains a comfortable riding position is definitely high up on my list. So what else are we working with? A pretty bone standard Nissan front caliper. I think pinching, I don't remember the brake size, but it's nothing huge. Single disc, non-radial pull master cylinder, of course. Like this is all budget stuff that makes sense for this category. There's nothing here that you would look at and say, wow, that's like really primo top-end components, because you're paying not that much money for this bike. This bike you can get for around $57.99 MSRP. I paid a little over $6,000 out the door for this bike, which was a pretty good deal, I think. And yeah, everything works exactly as you would expect and is very intuitive. The front brake feel, while not extremely powerful, provides good stopping power. As you see there, just checking my sixth, is there anybody behind me? But yeah, you can see here, you can get a lot of stopping power out of the front, touch ABS a little bit, and yeah, enjoy life. The throttle tube is a little long for my taste. It's not as bad as the Yamaha R3. That bike has an extraordinarily long throttle tube, I think, just to make sure that beginner riders don't get themselves out of sorts on it, because if you have a super short throttle tube with a really short throw, you can get to wide open faster, which is great for the racetrack and for all that stuff, but not great for a beginner rider who's maybe learning the ropes. So as you'll see here, from completely off to wide open, it's a bit of a throw, but not too bad, Obviously, if you were speccing in a track bike or a race bike or something, you'd get a much shorter throttle throw, but for a beginner rider, really perfect. One of the best things about Kawasaki's is their gearbox, and the Ninja 400 does not disappoint, man. This thing has a phenomenal gearbox, really precise, really snickety, and it provides a really positive engagement on the lever down at your foot. As you see here, I'll click up into fourth gear, third gear, second gear, go back up, third gear, fourth gear, and it's a really nice feel through that. It doesn't feel sloppy, and when you get it down into first gear, it feels very tactile, feels very nice to use. You can find neutral extremely easily on this bike. It has none of the bizarre Ducati characters where you got to do a special secret chant to get into neutral or whatever. This bike is very easy to ride. Almost like ridiculously easy to ride, honestly. It's really cool what Kawasaki's done here, and it's really cool for the beginner bike platforms nowadays that they are so easy and fun to ride. And that's the thing about this bike, and why I said that anybody would enjoy it, is like, yes, it is a beginner bike, but even myself, with all the experience that I have, I race motorcycles, I've been riding for over 8 years, I've ridden over 160 bikes, owned 57 different bikes, lots of riding experience, right? I can still jump on this thing, and it puts a smile on my face, It brings me back to my early days of motorcycling. It's just a fun, peppy little bike that on the street, you feel like you can use a whole lot of it, if not all of it, really, if you're kind of pushing the envelope a little bit. You can ride this bike really hard, and the best part about a Ninja 400 is if you're a competent rider, you can kind of embarrass some bigger riders on bigger bikes on Twisties. I know for a fact that if you put me on this bike, any of our local roads here in Austin, I would be totally fine to keep up with just about anybody, because this bike is very capable. The only place it starts to fall apart a little bit, in my opinion, is the stock tire. This bike comes equipped with the Dunlop GPR 300 tire from the factory, and that's just... I know people like the tire, and it works well, and it lasts a good amount of time. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. I just think it doesn't have enough of a V-shaped profile to it, so initial tip-in feels a little lazy, and I could use a little bit more grip on the side of the tire when I'm actually mid-corner. So I would personally spec in like a Bridgestone S22 would be perfect on this bike, or I don't know if they make it, but maybe a Dunlop Q5S for this bike, the more street-oriented Q5. I don't know if they make that in a 140 or a 150. All right, getting the Ninja 400 into the twistier bits over here. We do have a truck in front of us, which we may or may not be able to pass, but flicking it over from side to side, which is what this bike's kind of meant to do, you know? And it's a great feeling, you know? It's very predictable, very poised, it handles super well. You know, it doesn't do anything that a beginner rider would find strange. It's doing exactly what a motorcycle should do, and that's what you come to expect from the big four, you know? Kawasaki, Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki, any of the Japanese big four manufacturers, you know, they're going to provide a bike that handles really well and works really well on the side of the tire, to the point where more experienced riders can get on this thing and just really enjoy it, really get in the pocket of it and love life, you know? This is a super fun motorcycle to ride. Even for me, a bone stock Ninja 400 is still really good, guys. Like, really, really good. You don't really need a ZX10 or an R1 to have some fun. This is really where the going gets fun on these little bikes, you know? I really, really enjoy hustling these things through the corners. Oh, this truck's about to cut the apex over here. I see what's going on. That's funny. I think the thing that surprises me about the 400 is this engine is very peppy. It makes the A2 compliant horsepower of about 48 horsepower and 27 foot-pounds of torque, but you know, it makes that power in such a linear and nice way. It's really enjoyable to wring this bike out and to use it. It's a really nice feeling when you get this bike wide open, because it just pulls all the way to the top. You know, the ZX4RR, unless you get that flash, it's very neutered at the top end. Very neutered, very kind of sad to use that bike, for lack of a better word. Whereas this bike, you just open it up and it just feels really good, which we will finally get the chance to do now. Add some pace to the 400 here. And the 400 is like, I mean, its limitation is usually the rider. It's not the bike, you know? A lot of people get these bikes and they sell them within 6 months. They're like, oh, bro, I outgrew the bike. And it's like, I guarantee you did not ride that bike even close to its potential. You know, you might feel like you did, but trust me, you're not. Yeah, look at that. Really linear power, really nice to use. Yeah, I don't love these GPRs, but yeah, it's working for me. And I tell you what, having endurance raced the 400 through several rounds of CMRA now, these motors are bulletproof. These little 400 engines are absolutely freaking bulletproof. All you gotta do is change the oil and put gas in it. They will run forever. Especially in a street state of tune, man, you don't need to worry at all about these bikes, man. These motors are good. Go ahead and flip around. Hopefully we don't catch any traffic. It's a good time to talk about the Ninja 400 slow speed handling. And as you can see, works really well. Really enjoyable. Because again, it's not a super uncomfortable riding triangle. Oh, that's fun. That's rewarding, man. It's really enjoyable. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't like taking a sport bike on twisty sets of roads? It's super fun, you know? Test those brakes a little bit, downhill. Yeah. I find it's geared really nice for the street too. I can't remember the size of the sprockets from factory on the 400, but this third gear right here feels really nice, you know? Fourth gear. grab third here. Feather it in. Beautiful. That's where I think this thing really excels. It's a building block motorcycle. All your fundamentals you can learn on this bike and really dial them in. You know, for those of you who are disciplined and you actually want to get good at riding, a 400 is going to teach you everything, man. It really is. I think those of you out there on R6s and stuff right now, you could benefit from going back to a 400. You could. It's the right bike to get. Leave your ego at the door. Get a Ninja 400. Kawasaki's basically perfected the small bore sport bike. Just get one of these. Trust me. I race one. I like it. It's good. This is so much fun. Because you get to go wide open. Speed limit enforced by Sheriff's Office. Yeah, is that right? Let's see it. There's a little tight right to left right here. Yeah, this one. Just go bang, bang. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to not like a 400. They're really, really fun to ride. Bang it right over here. All right, let's see about a little acceleration test, shall we? All right, that was 60. And that felt like 4.5 seconds maybe. I didn't have a super aggressive launch. I was just kind of easing out of it. But I think that was probably like 4.5, 4.4. I don't know, something like that. Felt like about 4 seconds. Which, yeah, for those of you who don't ride motorcycles yet, welcome. They are all pretty fast. I think most people are pretty surprised at the speeds that even beginner bikes can produce. All right, let's get the 400 out on the highway, because I know that's a big point that y'all want to know about, is how does this bike do on the highway, and can it keep up with traffic? So let's find out. Highway impressions on the Ninja 400. And they're very good. The little windshield does a pretty good job of deflecting the wind a little bit. The full fairings help it slip through the air. And I gotta say, for a bike that weighs like 360 pounds, it actually feels very substantial on the highway. It doesn't feel like something that's gonna get blown about in the breeze very much. I know a lot of beginner riders are worried about that, but it's really not that bad of a thing. Doing about 77 miles an hour in 6th gear right now. And if I roll on, I got a good amount of juice on tap, honestly. Going up to 90 here, 95. Hitting pretty close to 100 miles an hour, 103 or so. Yeah, it's pretty good. All in 6th gear gets it all done. Drop a gear down to 5th, you could do it even faster. This bike has a top speed of, wager like 115 to 120 miles an hour tops, you know? Somewhere around there. And that's more than what you need, trust me. You don't, I know some people really think about top speed and they really want to make sure their bike can hit a certain top speed for some reason. But really what matters is how the bike feels going down the road, doing about 76 miles an hour, if you have ample passing power, if you can get out of the way a little bit, and you certainly can with the Ninja 400. Like that Jeep just moved over to the right, I drop a gear down into 5th, want to go ahead and pass him. I can just wait a little bit, grab into 6th here, doing almost 100 miles an hour, not bad. On the brakes, and I've effectively passed somebody on the highway. No issues whatsoever. So, this little bike is very capable on the highway, honestly. I would feel pretty comfortable doing like a big commute on highways, doing 80, 90 miles an hour. It's really no issue on this thing. You know, I know some of you live in places where people are regularly doing, you know, higher speeds, like 85 to 95 miles an hour, that sort of thing. And in that case, I would recommend you stay in the middle of the right lane. You know, don't be in the left lane if people are doing 110 or whatever. But that's pretty infrequent as well too. Like right now, I'm doing 70 miles an hour, and you know, I've got people passing me, you know, relatively slowly on the left lane. They're maybe going 75 to 80 miles an hour, and things are all going okay here. The other great thing about this bike is the fuel economy it's going to return is pretty fantastic. You know, you probably see anywhere from 50 to 60 miles to the gallon on this little Ninja 400, and that's going to be really useful if you're using this bike as a daily rider, commuter vehicle, that sort of thing. All right, folks, let's get this bike back to the shop, wrap up our thoughts on this 3-day giveaway Ninja 400. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed my first ride and review on this KRT Edition Ninja 400. This is a great motorcycle. I think if you're a commuter, a beginner rider, someone who wants a fun, peppy sport bike for the road, you just can't go wrong with this thing. I would rate it a hard 9 to 9.5 out of 10, mostly because I know of its track potential and its race build potential and of everything you can do with this motorcycle. It really is that impressive. So don't forget, we are giving this thing away. You only have until July 17th to get entered to win for this bike. So go over to yammynoob.co. Every dollar you spend is an entry to win. You're not going to want to miss out on that. And remember, of course, we also are giving away all this gear over here too. We've got the Scorpion Exo helmet, the Assen gloves, the Revit pants, the Z1R boots, and of course this beautiful Alpine Stars jacket so that you can get out there on the road and start riding this beautiful Ninja 400 right over here. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later. Keep watching.